Lent, day 38, the Lord's Supper. At his last supper, on the day before he was to suffer, Jesus instituted the Holy Eucharist, his body, soul, blood, and divinity under the appearances of bread and wine. According to St. Augustine of Hippo, Christ held himself in his own hand when he gave his body to his disciples, saying, "This is my body." There are many ways in which Jesus is present in the world, but the Eucharist is the most sublime. It is his real presence. So the Eucharist is the very presence of Christ. It is the concrete fulfillment of his promise. "Lo, I am with you to the close of the ages." In the Eucharist, Christ is present in all the tabernacles of all the world, abiding with his people. For this same reason, the Second Vatican Council tells us that the Eucharist is the source and summit of the Christian life. The Church draws her life from the Eucharist, from Christ himself. Eucharist is also called communion, because we communicate with Christ through it, both because we partake of his flesh and Godhead, and we communicate with others and are united to others through it. For the very fact that it is our Lord who himself is present in the sacrament of the altar, number one, we must have utmost reverence and respect for Jesus in the Eucharist. We must adore and set aside time to encounter him, either in visit to the Eucharist at Mass or at Chapel of Perpetual Adoration. Number two, we must stop every act of irreverence. We must observe the proper bodily gestures due to the King. Number three, the worst disrespect is to receive him without preparation in our heart and to receive him unworthily in a state of grave sin. Today is a day we should rededicate and also reawaken our commitment to Christ in the Eucharist, and also encourage our friends and families who have been long absent to return to the Blessed Sacrament.